Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm Nurse Alyssa, and today we're going to be discussing why calluses are bad news for diabetics. But first, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated, as it truly does help my channel grow. So let's get started. If you've been dealing with diabetes, you know that you have received a long list of suggestions and warnings to take care of your health. And it's important to take these warnings seriously, because something as seemingly harmless as a callus can lead to long-term health complications, such as ulcers and even bone infections. So what is a callus? So a callus is hard, dry skin that has formed from pressure on the area over time. So the outermost layer of skin does become really hard. It becomes a lump, which normally remains painless. Now, for people with really no feet problems or just general health, calluses aren't an issue, and if you just remove the pressure from the area, the callus will go away over time. Now, this isn't the case for people with diabetes, as a lot of times we have neuropathy and we can't fully feel our feet. So why do diabetic calluses form? So diabetics are particularly at risk for forming calluses. One reason is because of neuropathy. So nerve damage leading to the loss of feeling in the feet. A diabetic who doesn't check their feet regularly, they may not feel the callus forming. And on top of that, the neuropathy damages the nerves that control sweat production and regulate skin oils. So diabetic are more prone to dry, calloused, and cracked skin. Now, we're probably wondering, how does a callus form an ulcer? So a callus ulcer is slightly different from a diabetic ulcer. Callus ulcers have tough layers of skin that build up on top of them, and they are often pale in color rather than the open red commonly associated with ulcers. The problem is that callus ulcers continues to kill the healthy tissue in the foot if left untreated. Once again, due to diabetic neuropathy, a patient may not feel this happening and therefore may not seek out treatment until the ulcer has progressed and got really bad. That is why it's absolutely important that patients that with diabetes, that they're looking at their feet daily. And if you are a healthcare professional, please teach your diabetic patients that they need to be looking at their feet twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, and always checking their shoes. I have actually had a patient who had a tack in the sole of their shoe, and it ate away at their foot, causing an ulcer. So there's a wide range of reasonings to look at the shoes, look at your socks, look at your feet daily when you're a diabetic, because diabetic neuropathy, some people don't even actually realize that they don't have full sensation in their feet, and it kind of just, things progress from okay to worse really quick. So really, how bad are callus ulcers for diabetics? So callus ulcers can get very bad if left untreated. As the ulcer progresses, it can move into other tissues and even bones, causing further infection. An ulcer that spreads to a bone can generally only be treated by amputations in those with diabetes. It's absolutely critical for diabetics to perform daily foot checks, like I just said. We need to catch these at the first sign of trouble. We need to educate and tell our patients that, hey, you need to seek medical help immediately if you see any changes at all. Now, how can a patient protect themselves from calluses and ulcers? Daily foot checks, like I said, that's the absolute best place to start. But there's also other steps that you can take to prevent calluses from forming. So wearing supportive shoes, padded shoes that fit correct, okay? Diabetics, they seem to have a wider foot and they need more room in their shoe. Because we all know that we have put on a pair of shoes when we were younger and we're like, okay, these just don't feel right here. They don't feel right there. So then we move on, continuous looking for shoes that feel comfortable. Well, if you have neuropathy, you're not feeling the uncomfortable parts in a shoe. So you want to make sure that if you have diabetes, that you're wearing the proper shoe and that are actually made for diabetics. A lot of times diabetic shoes, they don't have inseams. They don't have the stitching. They're just made to fit properly for diabetics. So I will add a link below. I have been in contact with a company who does have diabetic shoes. I know that they are super expensive, but they're not all like that. So I was able to get in touch with this company and they said, hey, we'll give you a link. You can offer to anybody who uses your link. I believe it's 20% off. I mean, it was a while ago, so I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But check out the link. I know there's a percentage off, and their shoes aren't bad in price as it is. And they have all the diagrams of how to measure your feet properly, so you know you're getting a good fitting shoe for your feet, okay? So that's number one. You want to make sure that you have good fitting shoes, especially when it comes to having diabetes. You do not want to play with your feet because a lot of times, and I have seen this more times than none, that it ends up in amputation when diabetics do have these ulcers that fester, especially into bone infection. It's never a good thing. So we want to catch it before it gets worse. Now, if you do see a callus forming, we don't want to trim it ourselves. I've actually come in contact with this where I've had patients that I had to start seeing because they chose to start pumicing a callus and they went too far. I mean, they were just working it, not paying attention, and it went too far, and all of a sudden they were bleeding, and it was all of a sudden an ulcer. Don't trim these calluses yourself. Please have a healthcare professional. There's foot care nurses out there, specific doctors that can remove these calluses. Okay, so there are professionals that can do this. Talk to your primary healthcare provider. It just depends on your location, and they'll tell you the further steps that you need to take. They should be able to set you up with somebody to help remove those calluses safely, okay? Because we want to go just down to soft tissue, but we also don't want to break through the skin layer, okay? Because we'll get this thick skin layer and we want to bring it down, but we don't want to go too far to cause any damage. So that's all I have for this video, guys. I hope you did find it helpful, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye for now.